So what I saw in the park today looked like a city under siege, under armed occupation. And I have to tell you, spending many years traveling into conflict areas, you know, it's the way a city looks before a coup.
That's how Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass described this scene yesterday at MacArthur Park, the heart of a largely immigrant neighborhood. Federal immigration agents, heavily armed and in military gear, descended in armored vehicles and on horseback to conduct a sweep, while a military-style helicopter circled overhead. It was a truly bizarre scene. Journalist Ken Klippenstein reports that the whole operation was intended as a, quote, show of presence, according to internal Army documents he obtained, which have not been independently verified by NBC News. Mayor Bass rushed to the scene Monday morning, telling agents to leave the park, quote, right now. And joining me now is Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. She previously represented the Los Angeles area as a Democratic congresswoman for 11 years. Mayor Bass, it's great to have you on. First, I guess I want to find out from you how you knew about what was happening there and if the federal government communicated you formally through any channels in any way.
No, there is no formal communication, and basically it's because the immigrant rights institutions in our city are very well organized. They have a rapid response network, and I get my news from them. So I was sitting in a room, and everybody's phones started blowing up, and that told me that the military had arrived in a park where nothing was happening, Chris. And to see the soldiers march through, they literally marched through the kids' summer camp. The kids had to be ushered in a building so that they weren't exposed to the scene.
So there's a summer camp happening in the park. Now, do you know that it was actual military? This is something that's been a little unclear in the reporting. Federal agents in camo, or actually members of the Marines or National Guard that have been mobilized by the Trump administration. Do you know that for a fact?
No, and let me just tell you that that is one of the mysteries of what is going on in our town. What I do know is that the Customs Border Patrol was definitely there. I have been told that the National Guards and the Marines were playing different roles, some on the periphery, but that we don't know that for sure. That is the problem. We have a lot of people who are not in uniform at all, wearing street clothes with vests, but the vests sometimes say nothing more than police, or it says nothing at all. Jumping out of unmarked cars with tinted windows, no license plate, wielding guns, pulling people off the street. That is the scene in LA right now, and it's shameful because we were not having problems before the first raid, which was June 6th. The administration has brought deliberately chaos in a situation, chaos and fear, because people around the city now are afraid to go to work.
There's been a lot of invective hurled at you by federal spokespeople from the administration. I want to just give you a chance to respond to a few things. So one of them was the spokesperson of DHS had this to say about the possibility of arresting you. I'm not sure for what, but here's what she had to say.
When you have scenes like you did out in L.A. today, where you have the mayor, Karen Bass, interfering with official federal officer proceedings, trying to enforce the laws that are put on the books by duly elected members of Congress, are you all hesitant to just go out and arrest her, or has all of this behavior not reached that threshold yet?
We're certainly keeping everything on the table, Charlie.
Your reaction to that, Mayor?
Well, they're going to arrest me for doing my job. I mean, as mayor, my #1 responsibility is to keep Angelenos safe. Now, it never dawned on me that I would have to worry about keeping Angelenos safe from my own government, from military that are supposed to be overseas fighting foreign enemies, from the Customs and Border Patrol. We're about 2.5 hours away from a border, or from the National Guard that have been federalized unnecessarily. You know, this is an example of the federal government essentially seizing power from a governor, federalizing the National Guards, bringing them to Los Angeles when nobody asked for them. These are young women and men that have been pulled out of work. They've been pulled from their families. They've been pulled from school for an assignment that is basically, I mean, I don't know what this is other than a political stunt. I do feel like LA is a petri dish, and we are the experiment and basically sending the signal to the nation that this is what's coming your way. First LA, let's see who's next.
Yeah, and I want to, when you talk about the sort of federal power grab here, this is what the Customs Border Patrol sector chief had to say, basically telling you that, you know, not quite it's my city now, but sort of that idea. Take a listen.
The federal government is not leaving LA. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now, because this is going to be normal very soon.
What do you say to that?
I mean, I just have to say that I think that it's pathetic. I mean, last I checked, all of us work for the American people. And so, as I said, I am the duly elected official here to represent the city, and it is my job to protect the city. I was not interfering. It is my responsibility to ask, what are you doing here in this park where nothing is going on? Why are you grabbing people off the street, making a lot of people believe that kidnappings are taking place? You know, we have whole sectors of the city now and the economy that has come to a halt. Our fashion district, 4,000 independent businesses, is a ghost town. We have restaurants and other places of work where the workforce is afraid to come in. Having restaurant owners tell me that this is worse than COVID. So this is damaging to our economy. It's damaging especially to the children. And this is all about a political stunt. And I think it's really sad to disrupt people's lives. We don't know where people are taken. We don't know if they're in the state. They have no contact with their families, no contact with lawyers. They're held in inhumane conditions. They're held in mass cells with 300 people in them, and that are designed for, you know, maybe 30 or so, multiple beds in the detention center, where they're only supposed to be held for a day or less, and they've been held there for many days and in some cases weeks.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, I really appreciate you taking time to speak to us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.